Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you all. My name is Mathur. You can see me on the participants list as TUV Rhineland Academy. I am here with you, ladies and gentlemen, today to talk about SA 8000 2014 version of this social accountability series. Rather, it's a standard, and we shall in the next 100 plus odd minutes we're going to be talking about this standard. What does it talk, किस बारे में है ये, किस टाइप की इंडस्ट्री में इसकी एप्लीकेबिलिटी है, क्या क्या इसकी ज़रूरतें हैं, रिक्वायरमेंट, स्कोप, ऑब्जेक्टिव्स ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर स्टैंडर्ड. I will just give you a brief overview of this standard, who runs it, which is the body, how is it implemented, and what is the content part of it. And at the end, I will also be talking about what are the mandatory documents as required by this kind of a standard. I would, the standard, yes, it is in English and it is in various languages. I have an English and a Hindi version of this standard. I would be talking about it in English, in Hindi as well. And also I would be giving you a brief about the content in a simplified English going ahead. So I believe all of you would be understanding English and Hindi. I also speak Gujarati. I am currently logging in from Vadodara. Should you have any problems, should you need any more clarification, you are requested to unmute yourself and you are requested to kindly let me know. Sonali madam, I hope my audio is clear.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I am presuming that you are able to see my first screen. My first screen is my first slide, which is welcoming you to the TUV Rhineland Academy. It is also mentioning about the subject, which is SA 8000 Social Accountability Standard. Going further, I commence. Going further, that's a slight bit of an introduction about myself. I am an engineer with an MTech, with an MBA. And I am a lead auditor as well as a trainer currently with TUV Rhineland. Have had a sizable number of audits and sizable number of trainings I have done. And I keep talking about various subjects, keep talking about various topics. And yes, that's where I am. I, at the onset, also would like to thank Mr. Sanjay Yadav as well as Sonali Satpathy madam for inviting us, for collaborating. I have also been associated with them in the past, and they are an amazing team, an amazing establishment in the beautiful environs of Silvassa, nearby to Vapi. So thanks for this association, and I'm sure this association will keep going on, and we would be able to address the like-minded people on the call as well as online, as and when the things go fine. Yes, the pandemic isn't a very comfortable thing. So a new, this is a new normal as we all are living into. Ladies and gentlemen, a quick introduction about TUV Rhineland. It is an organization about almost about 140, 142 years old. German originated, having its headquarters in Bangalore in India, majorly into training, into certification, into testing, and variety of other domains this organization runs into. A large number of organizations, Daman, Vapi, Silvassa, and definitely other parts of the country are certified by TUV Rhineland. And yes, it offers variety kinds of services in the Indian subcontinent. Academy and Life Care, while I talk about the training wing of TUV Rhineland, is known as Academy and Life Care. It has its own head office at Cochin in the state of Kerala. Yes, I would request you all to put yourself on mute, and you're most welcome to talk as and when there is a query, there is any clarification, should you have any. In the current set of things and current scheme of things, ladies and gentlemen, we would talk about the basic requirements of social accountability standard, which is by the number of 8000 and the latest version being 2014. We would also go through the basic clauses of it, and I would also request you simultaneously to keep having your own organization at the back of your own mind. Where exactly would you be wanting? In case if you are 8,000 certified, S 8,000 certified, do you have these? Do you don't? You can keep checking as we talk down the lane consisting of all the clauses of this standard. Also, in case if you are not certified, how would you go ahead? How would you talk about it? That is what we will run through in the current set. For next hour plus, we would be talking about that. A brief introduction about, ladies and gentlemen, the social accountability standard. So SA 8,000 is a social accountability standard which has been deployed, developed, and released by SAI, which is Social Accountability International, in the year 1997. Three versions of it have already been released. This is the fourth version. We had 2001, 98, 2001, 2004, and this is 2014 version of the standard. This standard is offering various parameters of implementation within an organization. This standard also has an accreditation agency of its own, which overlooks the implementation. It also overlooks the auditing requirement of the standard. Going further, why was there a need of this standard, and why is this standard so very popular? Why is this standard being implemented by so many organizations? So, ladies and gentlemen, a large number of organizations which are to do with human rights, which are trying to govern labor laws, which are trying to govern the rights of women, the rights of children, are existing part of the United Nations. They are also existing part of the charter of the countries. A lot of countries have their own laws, rules, regulations. They have their charters, and likewise each state as well as each organization have their set of charters. Now these charters are huge in number. These charters are many into many volumes. How do you take cognizance of it? How do you control it? So what SA 8,000 did, it took all cognizances of all kinds of regulations, whether statutory and regulatory, whether to do with United Nations, whether to do with the International Labor Organization, whether to do with United Nation development programs, whether to do with any kind of national oblique international conventions. And it took them into play. It took up their features of it and developed this kind of a standard, which eventually became an auditable, implementable, as well as auditable standard. So on your screen, if you see, there are 9 different elements of this standard, starting from child labor to forced labor to workplace safety and health, the right to organize, discrimination, workplace discipline, working hours, the wages and remuneration. Ninth being the management system for the complete ecosystem, inclusive of the human resources. Now, if you read this, I also presume that a lot of you all on the call today are privy to the basic standards which your organizations would have already implemented, whether it is to do with ISO 9001, whether it is 14,001, 18,000, the British standard of OSHAS oblique, the ISO 45,001, energy management, which is 50,001. Now, once you read these contents or elements of this standard, you would realize that a lot of commonality is there in these standards and these existing management standards. And the next question which should also come to your mind logically is, why is this standard required if you already have those standards? Yes, you are right. Those standards are there. Those standards will have a lot of commonality, but then a host of things your legal department in the companies would be implementing them separately. So if you have the understanding of this standard, if you have the implementation of this standard, a lot of things like forced labor, child labor, remuneration, yes, which would be in some other form, tends to get covered. and any of those blanks which are noticed in the other remaining system ISO standards tends to get covered in this social accountability standard of 8000, which is definitely one of the most popular standards as far as the right to the child labor, the right to forced labor, remuneration, and a host of these issues are considered. This standard caters and answers to all those queries. A very important part, which is also part of the charter in India and in other countries, is the CSR part. So, as per the ROC, a specific percentage of your annual turnover is required to be contributed, is required to be implemented as part of the CSR. So a lot of companies do a variety of kinds of CSR. They kind of rejuvenate the village where they are in. They make the roads, they make education, they make primary education, they make ladies education, they create kinds of jobs for the local villagers, they do forestation, they do greenery. A host of CSR activities are done. Mind you, ladies and gentlemen, this activities or all of these activities being done by whether government organizations, whether PSUs or whether corporates, gets under the ambit of SA 8000. It all tends to get covered under this social accountability standard. And a lot of CSR activities are done keeping the standard into perspective, keeping this standard alive and going ahead. So yes, what are the CSR consist of? Respect for human right, fair treatment for the workforce, protecting the environment, ethical behavior of the organization, and being a good neighbor. Yes, we do, and I'm sure each one of you on the call are aware about it. This is just a touch point, and I am also trying to create linkages of this standard into your day-to-day activity as well as your corporate functioning on a regular basis. The standard details, going further into the detail about this SA 8000, what it says is it's a first global standard for ethical sourcing of everything, ethical sourcing of manpower, ethical sourcing of products, services, ethical sourcing of land, everything with the prefix of the word ethics. Designed for independent verification, yes, a global standard designed for use by any company anywhere in the world. It has been developed with the stakeholders into perspective. Just a moment. Online. Yeah, sorry. So I've just put the participants onto mute. My apologies. Coming back here, it has been developed with keeping the stakeholders into place, into mind, and is designed to take the local laws and requirements. So for example, you are implementing this standard, let's say in Daman, let's say in Vapi. So this standard will give you the skeleton. It gives you the idea. It will tell you what all labor laws are required to be done. It tells you what are the international laws, what are the state laws, and in case if there is any specific law pertaining to that GIDC, pertaining to that industrial zone, pertaining to the state of Gujarat, or pertaining to the UT of Dadra Nagar Haveli or Daman Diu, you will be doing that as well. So it keeps giving you a reminder. It keeps prompting you that you will take these laws as well as any local laws, these laws as well as any local requirements, oblique local statutory requirements. Should there be any, you will also consider them. Few bit of statistics, ladies and gentlemen, on your screen. So about it is certifying almost about huge number of facilities. Almost it says 6.5 lakh workers. Yes, it's a dynamic figure, keeps on increasing. It's the best part is it is spread all to 70 different industrial sectors. A few sectors below mentioned are apparel, textiles, building materials, agriculture as a sector, construction as a sector, chemicals as a sector, cosmetics as a sector, cleaning services, transportation. So wherever you have kind of workers, wherever you have any kind of the setup, any kind of an organization, this standard could be implemented, could be adapted in the best possible way. It also tells you that Brazil, India, China, and Italy have the highest number of certifications for this standard. And if you see these countries, leaving apart Italy, Brazil, India, China are thickly populated countries, out of which India, China are at the top of the population in the world. And yes, it also gives you the kind of industries, the variety of industries that is there. It also says 60 countries it is pretty much active upon. And yes, the last of it, it says is the cost depends on the size of the organization and the people working in the organization. So it'll differ, but yes, it is a very, very simple and much sought after standard, because it covers a wide variety of things which are a mandated requirement by every government, by every statutory body. So it tells you that it is established in 1997. It undertakes impartial assessment of SA certification. Here, SA is Social Accountability Certification. It monitors ongoing compliances of certification bodies and their documented procedures. So it behaves like a big daddy. It behaves like a super structure over your existing procedures. So in case if you are being certified by the labor commissioner for in your organization, let's say for 100 laborers, in your domain, so this certification is mounted on top of it. In the audits, the legal list would be checked, the validity of the certificate, the applicability of the certificate is also checked. So it acts like a big umbrella over your existing compliances. That's the importance of it, and that's the reason it is so popular. Maintains the list of accredited certification bodies available to the public. It reviews and resolves complaints against auditors, certification bodies, should there be any. And in India, we have about 12 to 14 certification bodies who are actively doing this. The list is also available online, which could be contacted upon for any kind of certification work. A few benefits, ladies and gentlemen, why you should go ahead with it. It helps in reducing the number of accidents in an organization. It enhances opportunities to be organized. Yes, much well desired by the top management. A way to address and improve the conditions where people work. Increased worker awareness about core labor rights. Yes, it gives you an opportunity for the labor rights welfare as well as knowledge. Enhanced communication to the management. Evidence that labor rights are good for society and business. Improved business practices lead to economic growth and new job opportunities. Enhanced company and brand reputation. That's most supreme and much desired by any organization. Improved employee recruitment, retention, and performance. Gains in quality and productivity. Ladies and gentlemen, if you read these points, they are all derivative. They are all derivative of this particular standard once you implement in your organization. आप डायरेक्ट देखना चाहेंगे कि मैंने ये लगाया तो मेरे एक्सीडेंट कम कैसे हो गए, प्रोबेबली आपको डायरेक्ट ना दिखे, बट इफ यू गो ऑन टू द स्टैटिस्टिक्स ऑफ द कंपनी, प्रोबेबली इफ यू टेक एन ईयरली डेटा, इफ यू टेक 2 years of data, you will be able to realize that yes, since worker awareness is happening, since the training is happening on safety, since the training is happening on better health of the workers, आपके accidents automatically कम होने लगेंगे. The next set of benefits, it says savings from fewer work days lost and lower insurance bills. Less expensive than an internal compliance program. Yes, it is. Better relationships amongst workers, trade unions, companies, customers, NGOs, and government. Because what happens is it overrides all these kind of organizations, whether trade union, whether any company set up, any customer set up, any union of the customers, any cartel, any NGOs, which are there in any of the governmental requirements. So it overrides them as a large umbrella, and it helps in creating a better compliance. Number 14, I'm reading in here for the knowledge of all. Clear, credible information for those who want to make ethical purchasing decisions. Useful data for socially responsible investors. Number 16, it gives a beautiful benefit, says identification of products made under humane conditions. So the product which you are using, and if you know it is coming from an organization which is SA 8000 certified, you know that there are no kind of social problems under which the production has happened over the course of the presentation, I would be giving you certain examples of these problems where we have these social problems happening. I would keep giving you examples as we see in our audits while we go to do these audits as an auditor. I will be sharing that information with you as well. Number 17 says identification of companies making progress towards humane conditions and broad coverage of product categories and production geography. 16, coming back, going much before going forward, gentlemen, the textile industry. Yes, a textile park in the state of Rajasthan. I was recently auditing just before the lockdown. They do a lot of there is yes there is a lot of dyeing industry. They do textile cloth dyeing printing in that particular zone. If you and you know if you are aware, if you want to dye a cloth, if you want to print on the cloth, a lot of chemicals are used. While you are using these chemicals, it emanates odor, it emanates fumes. There is a lot of ammonia used. There are a lot of different solvents used, and a lot of hazardous chemicals are used while printing and while dyeing on a particular textile. While we went and we were visiting an organization for the social accountability audit there, gentlemen, in Rajasthan, I would not name the town, I would not name the name of the organization. It was a very sad state to see close to 100 workers they have a various process. This cloth comes in large rolls of, let's say, 1,000 meters or 2,000 meters from the weaving industry, and they were majorly into dyeing and printing. Now what happens is they wash the cloth first. After washing the cloth, they just don't wash it with water. They use a lot of chemicals so that the cloth doesn't shrink. They use a lot of chemicals so that when the printing is done, it sticks on well with the cloth and it becomes a permanent thing. Now in that industry, ladies and gentlemen, the sad part to see was these workers were barefoot. That is one. There were no PPEs, the personal protective equipment issued to the workers. The odor and the fume was next to falling ill, falling unconscious. The pungent smell of ammonia and pungent smell of a host of chemicals. And the conditions were completely inhumane. When I talk of inhumane conditions, that is the place, the light, the floor was full of a variety of chemicals. It was completely dirty. And like we have this standard practice in India, and I'm sure you all are privy to it, our workers work for 12 hours shift. We give them, instead of 4 hours overtime, we give them an hour overtime or 2 hours of overtime. And that is just about it. And we don't have 3 shifts. We complete our 24 hours in 2 shifts. And the conditions were much worse there. They were kind of slaves being enslaved upon. And when you wear a cloth, and it was being made for a very popular brand, for the ladies cloth material. Now when you wear this kind of a cloth, and when you come to know, when you see where it is being made and the way the workers are being treated, it is a very sad part. And yes, such things have to be catered for. Such things, in spite of that company going for SA 8000, their compliances were least possible complying to the requirement. And yes, it took them almost a year after our audit that they were able to comply upon with the SA 8000 standard. And these conditions are pretty much, we are aware about these conditions. We see them, and hence it is pretty much pertinent for us to understand this standard. If we have in our organizations, ladies and gentlemen, wonderful. In case if we don't, we should plan and go ahead with this. This was the section 1, wherein I gave you an introduction. I told you what are the content part of it. I also gave you a brief as to the benefits of it. I also told you the cost, depending on what all factors, and how do you go about it. Now coming on to, ladies and gentlemen, the basic contents of the SA 8000. What does it comprise of? What all are the various parameters? I will be talking about these 9 parameters. I will just go back and show you those 9 parameters. These are the 9 parameters which I showed you a while back. And I will now be talking about each parameter much in detail, going ahead with the same. I repeat those 9 elements of the standard. It the SA 8000 caters to child labor. It caters to forced labor. It caters to better health and safety parameters in an organization. It caters to freedom of association and right to collective bargaining. It also lines up the policies for no discrimination. It also details out the various disciplinary practices which have to be curbed and controlled. It gives you the control over working hours in an organization. It helps you out in regulation of the remuneration. And last but not the least, it regulates the complete management system of the organization. So anything which is not getting covered in the above 8 points tends to get covered in the management system. And when you say management system of an organization, ladies and gentlemen, it is the complete management system of any organization. So it will cater to each one of them. I come on to the basic intent part of it. So the standard gets divided into 3 parts. First is the introduction, which caters for intent and scope. So this is a voluntary standard, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a compulsory standard. It is a voluntary standard based on UN Declaration of Human Rights. If you Google UN Declaration of Human Rights on the web, you will get the complete set of documents over it. It also is based on ILO, which is International Labour Organization, and other international human rights organization and labor norms. It also caters to the national labor laws. It empowers and protects all the personnel within the purview of that organization. It includes personnel employed by the organization on the direct roles. It also includes persons who are on subcontracted mode, not just the people, as well as any other items which are sublet oblique sublet to the suppliers. It caters to all of them. If you see this word, ladies and gentlemen, on my screen, home workers. What does this mean? Home workers are the people whom we all are. We are working from home. We are not at our organization from where our salary or our money comes. I'm sure a lot of you would be in office at the moment, but we have learned this new normal in this pandemic times, which says work from home, WFH as we write it. Home workers, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, it also tends to get covered in SA 8000. I will give you an example. For example, you are, it's a typical example, you are allowing only 50% staff. A lot of staff comes thrice a week. So if that person is working from home, it's not that he or she is not working and spending less time onto your work. No, that's wrong. He or she, we have seen during pandemic times earlier, yes, there was a misnomer that anybody working from home is not working, is only doing personal work. That complete conceptualization, that complete misnomer is completely out of question. And in the current context with this pandemic on, we all know that people have worked from home in the past 4 months, 5 months, 6 months now, and the output probably has been much better as envisaged by the top management or as envisaged by the respective managers. So home workers also tends to get covered here. While I talk about home workers, I will also give you an example. A lot of stuff being manufactured or being outsourced in outsourcing kind of an industry is done by people sitting at home. I'll give you a nice example of Mahila Gruh Udyog. A lot of ladies work at home, go and sell at a particular common platform, and they are able to make money out of it. Now that also, ladies and gentlemen, tends to get covered. The place of their home, the place of their work within the home, how are they working? If they have good facility, if they have best possible things, and they are again getting covered by this standard. So home workers is another beautiful clause which tends to get covered, part of the SA 8000. Scope, yes, the scope can be as wide as it is possible. It depends upon kind of organization, kind of industry, and the number of people there. It all depends upon that. Management system is, we all know, the management system is something which we are all privy to, which helps us out in delivering our intent or objective of that organization. So what it says is, what the standard says is, the management system element has to be achieved, or it has to be seen or developed jointly between worker and the management. Both, they both have to get involved for the best possible output. That is what this system, that is what this particular standard talks about it. Normative elements and their interpretation. I would just like to show you a few of those conventions, part of the International Labour Organization, which tend to get covered with this. If you see convention 1, which is to do with hours of work, 116 is to do with reduction of hours of work, 29 is to do with forced labor, 105 is abolition of forced labor, 87 is to do with freedom of association, 98 is to do with right to organize and collective bargaining, 100 is to do with equal remuneration, so on and so forth. Ladies and gentlemen, if you see the last one, which is 177, which is to do with home work, how would it be done? What all are the things to be catered to is all getting envisaged under one umbrella of SA 8000. Going further, if you see 181, 182, 83 to do with private employment agencies, worst forms of child labor, maternity protection, the ILO code of practice of HIV, AIDS, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, International Covenant to Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, UN Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights. All these again tend to get covered under this, ladies and gentlemen, and hence it has a wide acceptability across the world. The part 3 of the clause talks about a few definitions. Yes, a very important definition as per this standard of a child is any person under the age of 15 years of age. It also says, unless the minimum age for work or mandatory schooling is higher by local law. So let me just check with one of our participants. Let me check what is the, let me speak to Mr. Ghosh. Mr. Ghosh, this is Mayank Mathur. In case if you can unmute yourself and tell us what is the minimum working age as far as the Indian industry is concerned. Mr. S.K. Ghosh, if you can hear us out. I believe.
I think he's not able to unmute himself.
No problem, no problem. Zankhana Shah, I read your name there. Can you tell us what is the minimum age of work which we follow in India? If you can unmute yourself. No, I don't hear them. Mr. Amod Singh, can you hear me? Oh, I'm amazed. Gentlemen, there is a button down below. You press it, it gives you a mic. I'm sure we are all aware of this new normal now. We've used enough of Zoom in our daily work. Anybody who can tell me? Anybody on the call? Yes, Mr. Shrikant.
Yes. Yeah, it's 15 and above, right?
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you.
Sorry. Yeah, it's 15 and above. Yeah.
As per which act? As per which law in the country, in India?
It's related to Child Labor Act.
Right. In India, is it 15 or is it 18, sir?
Sorry, yeah, sorry. 18 is
in India, we are following 18 years of age.
18
yeah.
is the way. Yeah, right.
Yeah, correct. So in India, what we follow is minimum 18 years of age. If you read what I'm trying to read on my screen, Mr. Shrikant, what it says is, any person under the age of 15 years is a child. That's a definition.
Right, yes.
Unless
Yeah,
the minimum age for work or mandatory schooling is higher by local law, in which case the stipulated higher age applies in that locality. So if you see this, in which the stipulated higher age applies, in India it is not 15. Anybody under the age of 18 is a child.
18. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So the standard says under 15, it says is a child. The
Yeah.
standard also says that anybody above 15 and below 18 is a young worker. So
Yeah,
different
exactly.
countries have different specifications as per their labor law. India, we follow, ladies and gentlemen, very strictly 18. Anybody found working in an organization under 18 is a crime by law. You may be certified by this standard, you may not be certified by this standard. It is immaterial. A child found working in an organization is a crime, and it is a non-billable crime. So,
Exactly.
but yes, but this standard, gentlemen, talks about, it gives a definition, and it also gives a leeway that in case if by law, if there is a higher age, then that is the age to be applied. So that's the definition. Thanks, Mr.
Yes.
Shrikant, for being there.
Yes.
Collective bargaining, gentlemen. Mr. Habibul, you were saying something. Can you tell us what is collective bargaining, please?
Collective bargaining is something what there is a freedom of worker. They can express their, some issue or for their some needs. They can express and they can discuss with management.
You're absolutely right, sir. So, in short, in the layman language, in the spoken language, collective bargaining, we call it as a union.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So, collective bargaining agreement, as per the Factories Act in India of 47.
You mean to, excuse me, sorry. You mean to say this union, the other word of union is the collective bargaining agreement?
No, it is not. No. I said in a layman's language or in spoken language, when you say collective bargaining, you say whether that union has been formed. So I'm just reading that definition on the screen.
Okay.
What it says is a contract specifying the terms and conditions for work negotiated between an organization or group of employers and one or more worker organization.
Right,
So
right.
the collective bargaining power is a unionized body which is able to bargain with the management in case of a worker related problem. So in spoken language, what we say is you have the collective bargaining power. That means you have formed a union or a body of workers. That is how it is. So in short, collective bargaining agreement is a group of workers able to negotiate with the management as any benefit which is entrusted or which should be given to them as per the law or the local area. That is what is collective bargaining agreement. Thank you, Mr. Habibul. Corrective action, preventive action, we all know. We've been hearing this pretty much extensively into our own organizations. Forced or compulsory labor. Yes, I would be talking about this going forward. We all know what is this about. Home worker. I mentioned this a while back. So what it says is a person who is contracted by the organization or by its supplier, sub-supplier or subcontractor, but does not work on their premises. So this person is working from some other premises and delivering the exact kind of the output desired. Human trafficking, yes, we are much aware about this word. Doesn't really happen now in our country. But yes, probably it used to be happening 70, 80 years back into our country. And ladies and gentlemen, very sad part, if you go to a few of these third world African countries, you still find this happening there. Very, very sad. I am privy to that since I have been auditing there. I've been training there. I have seen it with my eyes, and a very sad part. Point number 11 is interested parties. So interested parties is anybody or everybody who is in the ecosystem, who is linked to each other. So your customers, suppliers, your probably government, neighbor, any other statutory regulatory body or NGO or anybody who is linked to you is an interested party. Living wage. Living wage is the definition. What it says is the remuneration received for a standard work week by a worker in a particular place sufficient to afford a decent standard of living for the worker and her or his family. So living wage is something which you require for the very basic part when you say is roti kapda or makan in our own language. Very, very basic needs tends to get catered to. We call that as a living wage. 13 is non-conformance, which is non-compliance. This again word we keep listening into our own organizations. Organization is, yes, it is an entity. 15 is personal. They can be anybody, part of the organization. And worker, here we use worker as a non-management personnel is the word being used. Private employment agency, yes, we are aware about it. Number 18 is, ladies and gentlemen, remediation of child laborers. So all support and actions necessary to ensure the safety, health, education and development of children who have been subjected to child labor as defined above and whose work has been terminated. So remediation of child laborers, very, very crucial. We will be seeing going ahead. Risk assessment, ladies and gentlemen, we see this particular part in every possible work which we do, every possible project we undertake, and day-to-day activities as well. And here also, it forms a very crucial and an important part. SA 8000 worker representative, yes, the standard, it definitely impedes upon a requirement for a worker representative on pretext of SA 8000, that is social accountability, into the scheme of things in an organization, preferably in a union. If you have a unionized facility, a person part of the union would also be a worker representative. Social performance, yes, in organizations, achievement of full and sustained compliance with SA 8000. We call it as a social performance. Stakeholder engagement, we all know this word. Supplier, subcontractor, we know. Sub-supplier, we know. Worker organization also we know. I would read out the last, which is young worker. So any worker under the age of 18 but over the age of a child as defined above. So as per the standard, it says anybody who's 15 plus till 18 is a young worker. So young worker is a different definition, because in a lot of countries, looking into their social fabric, looking into their earning potential, looking into their requirement as a family and as a country, as a society, this standard becomes applicable, because in certain countries 15 plus they allow them to work, but then there are different conditions which I would be covering as I go ahead. I would just brief you all through into the standard. So gentlemen, these were the definitions I wanted to talk about. Coming on to the clause 1 of the standard, which is to do with child labor. How I am going to be talking about is, gentlemen, if you see my screen, I would be talking about sections and subsections. I would not read them out, but at the end of clause 1, I would have summarized everything into a layman's language, what is required to be done. So the criteria as per this standard, if you see my screen, ladies and gentlemen, it talks about the organization shall not engage or support the use of child labor. As we have seen, child labor is anybody working under the age of 15. How, what, and monitoring, what it says is it has to be documented. That means the procedure has to be documented. There has to be knowledge about this to be shared with the interested party. There has to be written policies. There has to be remediation for this, and there has to be a proper monitoring mechanism for this. And it also talks about the school part of it. What it says is the organization should provide adequate financial and other support to enable such children, that is under 15, to attend and remain in school. So what it says is, please let the education continue. It also, what it says and what it implements and what it reiterates, I will just come slightly ahead after I finish clause 1. 1.3, gentlemen, of the standard talks about organization may employ young workers, that is less than 18, more than 15 years of age, where such young workers are subject to compulsory education laws. They shall work only outside of school hours. So for example, in India, in any case, young workers under 18 are, as it is, not permitted. In countries wherein workers or young workers above 15 are permitted, they will and then there is a compulsory education by law, like we have the right to education or the RTE. They will only work outside of the school hours. Whatever time the school finishes, they can work after that. What it also says is, under no circumstances shall any young worker's school work and transportation time exceed a combined total 10 hours per day. So if that person, if the child is going to school plus work, it should not exceed 10 hours cumulative, including transportation, and for work should be not more than 8 hours. It also says young workers may not work during night hours, although this is not applicable in our country, but yes, there is a requirement that we should be aware about it. It also says that these young workers will not work in hazardous oblique unsafe places of work possible as much as possible, and they will just not be there. That is what it talks about. What I have done, ladies and gentlemen, after every finishing of the clause, I have summarized it, and I have summarized it into a requirement. So 1.1, 1.2 and 3, what it says is there has to be a policy of minimum age. Do not keep anybody below the age of 15 years. And there has to be an age proof. This is internationally. In India, it will be 18 years. Policy, it says, is document and communicate your child labor policy to everyone, whosoever is the interested party. Prevention and remediation, what it says is develop a procedure for avoiding child labor in recruitment. In case found currently engaging child labor due to past policies, have a methodology for remediation of child labor. Do not engage young workers for night work and hazardous work. So this is this particular tabulation is the interpretation of clause 1. Clause 2, gentlemen, talks about forced or compulsory labor. What 2.1 talks about is organization shall not engage in or support use of forced or compulsory labor, including prison labor. Very, very interesting as per the ILO Convention 29. It also says shall not retain original identification papers. You would have seen or you would have heard, gentlemen, especially I have seen this in Middle East, while a lot of Indians, workers especially below the managerial cadre, they go to work there, their passports are retained by the worker. I will quote about UAE, I will quote about Oman, especially while they're working in oil and gas. They get a holiday once in 6 months or once in a year, depending on their contracts. Their passports are held back. Their documents are held back by the employer. So what it says is they shall not retain the original identification papers. They will also not take any deposits. I have also seen, in case if you have to leave early or if you want to resign, they take 3 months of pay back as a deposit. They don't give it to you. So this is contrary to social accountability standard as per clause 2.1. 2.2 talks about neither organization nor entity supplying labor shall withhold the salary, benefits, property, documents. Actually, this is being done. I will not be able to quote about India, but yes, I have seen this happening in UAE and Oman, that they withhold salary, they withhold benefits till the time the complete contractual obligation for that particular contract is over, and they only give a part of the salary on a weekly basis. 2.3 talks about organization shall ensure no employment fees or costs borne in whole, part by workers. Yes. 0.4 talks about the workers have the right to leave premises after completing standard work day, and they are also free to terminate. This again, as per what I have seen during audits, this was not happening, especially in the oil and gas sector. I've seen this in Oman. They were not free to be terminated. They were not free to be, resigning, and they were not free to terminate their employment contracts. 2.5 talks about neither organization nor any entity supplying labor to organization shall engage in or support human trafficking. So yes, that gets summarized into the tabulation. What it says is do not engage in or support the use of forced labor. This means no bonded labor. Give freedom to work, to leave workplace after work day and to resign and leave from job. Do not engage in human trafficking. So that's the summary, which is to be while the implementation in an organization is to be done. I show you a small little case, ladies and gentlemen. During interview of the assembly workers, few contract workers suggested that their contract has made them sign a bond for 3 years. In case they exit the company prior to 3 years, they would have to pay him a salary of 2 months as a penalty. Upon discussion with the contractor, he suggested that he was helpless as the principal employer had imposed a heavy penalty on him if any worker quits. He also added that he was not happy with the idea of deduction of poor workers, but was trying to mitigate his own risk. So I leave it open to the house to tell me, in case if there is any problem, how do you do it, and what is the non-conformance as per the standard. Mr. Okay, Subodha Sarangi, can you please answer? Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, this is violating the law because the 3 years contract is not it's binding with the principal employer,
Okay.
which is not good to carry this contract. So as per the social accounting standard,
Right.
people should not take this bond kind of things, which is very violating the social aspects.
Correct. So you are absolutely correct on your assessment. Yes, it is going against the social aspect, the social accountability aspect. Thank you so much for your prompt response. I go to Mr. Deepak Singh. Mr. Deepak Singh, what do you have to say? Mr. Deepak Singh, is it possible for you to unmute yourself? No. Mr. Ramod Singh, can you assess it, please? Now I find you, Mr. Shrikant, to be there. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Can you assess it, this, please?
See, in this contract labels one, see what year our practice is. I can just share my industry
Sure.
experience, right? We are not want to take any agreement with the contract labor as it is mentioned as contract casuals there. Every day is a challenging day for the contractor. We will not be getting the casuals for a regular basis. They will be having some their own this one, and in this taking bonding is not right way. Instead, we can company can assist the contractor to give the proper manpower to shuffle with the interdepartment all those things. What we are doing into now in our industry. This as per your case study, what you are asking, I have just this kind of experience.
No, amazing. I am very happy
yeah.
that you are able to link it up with your kind of industry.
Yeah,
And yes, that is the very intention of this case study is so
Yeah.
that you are able to, link it up to your industry, what you are doing it, very nice.
Yeah.
Great, Mr. Shrikant, thanks. Yes, please.
Okay. Mm, regarding this agreement, in Karnataka, this way, in Karnataka, in this one, I'm not very much sure that the air companies are insisting to take the bond with the casuals, all these things. Instead,
Right.
they are assisting to do the same as per my knowledge. In Mysore industry and this one Bangalore industry, I am as per my awareness. These are the types of various strategies the contract companies are doing there with the contractors, vendors as well.
Right. So this particular case study, sir, is from it is a live thing. It is not a fabricated thing. Yes, the name of the company and those things are not given. But yes, this is happening very rampantly, in a lot of places, and yes, in our country also, and especially in remote places where the awareness of the semi-skilled or unskilled worker is very less, because he or she needs money, they are lured by this kind of contracts.
Subodh here, even if you find in the IT industry, they do this kind of bond,
Okay, sir.
which is very critical. Just now, there are some cases lying with the Supreme Court also, some courts as well in the civil courts, which is people are very unhappy, the IT executives.
Right.
So they get contracted with certain years, and if they are getting removed, they are not getting paid as well, which is also happening in this IT industry right away.
Which is very sad. I was not aware about the IT industry example. I only thought they are unskilled and semi-skilled workers, but then good that you brought a point out about the so-called educated staff as well. So
Yeah,
very sad,
even if
but yes,
I got a message from one of my friend circle.
right.
So they contacted me. What should we do? Generally, normally we say, okay, you have to file a case against the company. Otherwise, how do you will get out of it? So that's the
Otherwise,
way
they will
out.
do it with 10 more if you don't react
Yeah,
upon. Yeah, completely in
yeah,
agreement.
absolutely.
And this practices will just not end. Great. So thank you, sir, for your prompt response. The intention of showing this to you was just to make you think, instigate you to think about your own setup, your own ecosystem, about your own organization and the environment we all live in. Great. I come to the clause number 3. In fact, it is a big challenge to finish this beautiful topic in RR or 2, because it is a beautiful thing and you can go on and on and on, and there are enough examples we all with our experiences can quote, discuss and come to a logical conclusion. However, Sonali madam has given me very little time to complete, so please bear with me. I will slightly be on a faster pitch so that I am able to cover most part as I have thought of. Ladies and gentlemen, talking about health and safety, which is clause number 3 of the standard. Yes, what I will do is I will come to the summary part of it here. So what is health and safety? What is required to be done? Yes, there is a requirement of risk analysis and its mitigation. We do risk analysis for ISO 9000, we do risk analysis for OSHAs, we do risk analysis for environmental management system. Here also, ladies and gentlemen, a risk analysis from the health and safety perspective is required to be done. In case if you are OSHA certified and you are going for SA 8000, you have to consider the similar one, but the mindset has to change from the social impact and social accountability one. So what it says is, in implementation, identify by risk analysis the hazard. I'm reading in here, gentlemen, in case if you can see my mouse. Otherwise, I'm reading in here. The hazards inherent in the work and minimize them by implementing control measures. Example, firefighting, first aid, emergency preparedness, and necessary for employees' health and safety. 3.2, we are talking about health and safety officer. We need to appoint a health and safety officer in an organization. Oblique, there has to be a representative who looks after these things in an organization, in case if you don't have a doctor. Number 3 talks about training. We need to train everybody into health and safety. You may be certified, you may not be certified, ladies and gentlemen. A health and safety training is imperative. It is a mandated thing, whichever kind of organization you are. Please have a health and safety training. That is my humble request and a sincere suggestion. Even you may be just a supplier, or you may be just a organization wherein there is no manufacturing, there are no moving parts, there is no heat generated. You may just be a training academy, you may just be a service organization. Please have this health and safety, because it is not just those 8 hours of work, ladies and gentlemen. You and your employees have another 16 hours in a day. That 16 hours also, you want your employee to be safe, you want your employee to be healthy, you want your employee to be aware about it. It is not just those 8 hours wherein you are responsible. You are responsible to your staff, your team, for 24/7. Please have this done. This can hamper their on workplace problem. It can also hamper them during off work hours. Next is detection, prevention, and control. So in case of any of those problems, how do you detect it? How do you control it? Is also a policy requirement, part of clause number 3. Next is PPE and first aid. Yes, very, very clear to each one of us. It is required to be provided. New and expectant mothers, this is something very, very relevant to this standard. What it says is, assess their risks, provide adequate health and safety measures to them. So please look after any of such cases in your organization wherein you have new mothers, wherein you have expectant mothers. Please employ them. Do not take them off from organization. Do not relieve them off. You may be giving them a bigger tough time. Their livelihood would be lost. Look after them, employ them in places where it is most suitable to them, as per their condition, as per their physical conditions, the kind of work they can do. Hygiene and sanitation, ladies and gentlemen, on number 7 is yes, providing clean bathroom. This is a miss in most of the organizations in the country. Our bathrooms, our worker bathrooms are a disaster in most of the organization. I am not pointing at you specifically. Do not take it to your heart. In case if you find your bathrooms not up to mark, ladies and gentlemen, please see that your worker bathrooms are the best. They are better than the officer bathrooms or the toilets. Hygiene in the drinking water facility, yes, this has improved in the country in the past couple of years. Sanitary facilities for food storage, yes, crucial. Point number 8 talks about clean and safe staying place. In case if you are giving accommodation to workers at site, please see that they are clean, safe, and the basic sanitation is provided to them. That was to do with clause number 3. Clause number 4, ladies and gentlemen, talks about freedom of association and right to collective bargaining. Freedom of association, we, other than in SEZ, the unions are not permitted as per the law of the country. Other than the SEZ, you should be in a position to give them permission, allow the workers to have a union. That is a requirement also as per the Factory Act. 4.2 talks about in situations where right to freedom of association and collective bargaining are restricted, organization shall allow workers to freely elect their own representatives. So 4.2 talks about SEZ as an example. 4.3 talks about organization shall ensure that union members, representative of workers, are not subjected to discrimination, harassment, intimidation, or retaliation. So this is another part. And that's the summary part of it. So what it says is trade union, respect the right of employees. Parallel means in case unions are restricted, allow parallel means of communication with management, and non-persecution. Do not persecute union members or executives due to union activities. This is again a requirement of the standard. Another case, what it talks about is a company ABC Limited has workers association managed by its production manager. He ensures that workers are not able to disrupt the day-to-day working whilst putting up their demands. He claims that he has a good hold on the workers and all respect him. The production manager is given an incentive every month by the top management to ensure that no labor issues occur. When discussed with few workers, most of them refused to answer on the process, saying that the production manager may not like them speaking, and some of them said they had no idea about the association. So I get back to you again. So I would again try Mr. Ghosh, Mr. S.K. Ghosh, in case if you are there. If I could check with A. Singh, I don't know your name, please. My apologies. If you can unmute yourself. Gentlemen, it would be nice if you all participate, else it would just become a monologue or one-way communication. Yes, Mr. Habibul, if you are able to listen to me, if you can unmute yourself.
Actually, as per the case study and my conception, this the production manager is not able to manage the situation very nicely with the association with the workers. Hence, the workers are not happy as per the manager's decision or some steps taken. Because of that, the people are not supporting the managers, and the manager is saying to the top management that everything is going on with the as per management's requirement, or everything is okay.
It's like sorry, it's some
Yeah,
of
please.
it's some. See, you told that the case study is saying that the manager, production manager, is taking some incentive to distribute their team members, right?
Correct.
In this case, the production is not happening as well as the management requirement, and the employees of the team members are not obeying this production manager. In this case, it is a case of it's a cheating case. Cheating is
Yes,
if I'm wrong, please correct me. It's a cheating case. Yes, the production manager is convinced with the management that I am taking care of the entire production,
Yes.
and I'm taking out all the requirements of production is going on smoothly, and it is as per his promise. But when the inquiry is done with the employees, it's ultimately U-turn. it's a negative answers with the production manager.
Right.
In this case, the manager is the culprit of this one. And
Sir, the very first line in itself is a disaster.
Actually, the production
yeah.
manager is falsely commitment to the top management, and he is
Correct.
making his
So-
own good records.
Don't you think, sir, the first line is a disaster? How can this worker association be managed by a manager, sir? That
Yes,
in
yes,
itself
yeah,
is a
yeah,
disaster. It has to be
that
a
is true.
worker
See,
representative.
See, that
a
can be
man-
managed by a manager. It's a small organization that can be managed, but
yeah, that's
the thing should be in a proper way.
correct. So a manager should not be in the first place managing a worker association.
Yes,
That is
exactly,
first in
exactly.
itself
Yeah,
a
that is the
disaster.
first disaster.
It
Yeah.
is a small organization or a large organization.
Yes.
A worker has to be leading the worker association and not a manager.
Yeah.
Then probably
Yes,
the very
exactly.
taste of or the very intention of that worker association gets lost.
Yeah,
And that is the
exactly.
reason in the second para you see that a lot of people, lot of workers are not even aware because it is all a eyewash for the top management.
Yes, exactly.
Are you agreeing, sir?
Yeah, yes, exactly, sir, exactly.
Yeah. So
Uh,
nevertheless, so this and this happens, by the way, sir.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. With my previous industry, one of the production manager had come and hello.
Yes. Please go on.
He had created the union with based on the some other his own followers, and
Okay,
he
sir.
was entirely struggled in the end of the session
Sad.
because management has decided to remove all the employees this one. At the time, he was struggling, and we and background worked as to visit their home and visit their parents and convince them to come out from the union like this. This was the main strategy of the production manager, which he was newly joined. This is why it has been experienced with my previous industry.
Sad, sir. Sad. So I'm very happy that this
Yeah.
case study again is not fabricated one. You have already
No, it's
seen.
it's true. It's true.
I'm
It's
happy
true.
with that, sir. You are able to co-link yourself and relate to such kind of a thing. Nevertheless.
Yeah, exactly.
Wonderful. So thanks for your participation and thanks for sharing
Yeah.
your own experiences. It
Yeah.
gives us a cumulative learning, sir. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And the session was very good. And Sonali madam, it's very good organized this one. And this trainer part is very nice. And is your explanation and your this presentation is very nice. I am very
Thank you,
happy
sir.
on
Thank you
this
so
one.
much.
Yeah.
Allow
thank
me
you.
to go forward, sir. I'm still midway, sir.
Oh,
I still have to.
Sorry.
Yeah. I'm still going ahead.
Okay.
Sir. So,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, I come to clause number 5 now. This talks about a beautiful thing, quoting discrimination. Now, discrimination in what way? Discrimination by race, nationality, social origin, caste, birth, host of things should not be done again. It also says organization shall not interfere with exercise of personal rights to observe tenets or practices to meet needs relating to race, national, social origin, religion, disabilities, so and so and so and so and so forth. 5.3 talks about organization shall not allow any behavior that is threatening, abusive, exploitative, and sexually coercive. Yes, very, very critical. 5.4 is very sad. It again is happening in a lot of third world countries. I'm sure a lot of you would be able to relate with in our own organization. Organization shall not subject personnel to pregnancy or virginity test under any circumstances. The implementation, ladies and gentlemen, first is non-discrimination. Do not engage in parochial practices. Do not engage in discrimination of employees. Provide equal pay for work, what it says. Next is non-interference. Do not interfere with the rights of the employees to follow their religious, ethnic beliefs and practices. So in case there is a specific belief a person is following, the company has no right to interfere. That is what the SA 8000 mentions about. Prevent sexual harassment. Yes, very, very critical. We also have, ladies and gentlemen, another beautiful standard out of which Sonali madam is a champion. It is POSH. So prevention of sexual harassment is another of those mandated clauses by the Factory Act and also by the local statutory body, which is a mandatory thing in the current context in our country. And Yes, you will implement POSH in an organization, you would be overseen by SA 8000. So again, I mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, SA 8000 is an umbrella standard. It is encompassing each and every kind of the regulatory as well as statutory requirements from the social perspective. Fourth is do not subject personnel to pregnancy or virginity test. It happens in a lot of organizations. I have not seen, but I have heard and read, especially in the African nations. Again, I'm sure a lot of you would be able to link up in the current context in India as well, which I am not privy to. Another of the case studies. So what it says is Amit was given a promotion. HR head explains that all decisions are based on the merit, performance of the persons and final decision of the reporting manager. The auditor found this data in possession of HR. Amit is the first cousin of marketing manager. So we have some sales perspective, some figures. What it says is Amit did sales, which was to do with 60 pointers. Jalaj did it to 55 pointer. Jitendra did it to 70 pointer. Jay did it to 40 pointer. And the target was 60 and Amit was promoted. I would again throw it open to the participants. So let me check with Mr. V. Singh. My apologies, I don't know your name. And could you give your comments on this case, which you see on the screen? If you can hear me, V. Singh, please. Okay, Mr. Deepak Singh, you are unmute. Are you able to hear me out?
Yes, sir.
Can you read this case and what are your comments over it?
So I think Amit meet the target age for this promotion.
Anything wrong in this, sir?
Very, very true. Are ಅದು ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡು ಸ್ವಿಚ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ನಾವು ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿ ಲೋ ಇಲ್ಲ. As you said, this is promoted employee is a relative of a marketing manager.
Sir, can you see the target has been fixed as per the cousin brother, as per the cousin, not as per the best target, which is 70. Target has been fixed for the cousin.
Yeah.
Is it visible, sir?
Yes, I'm into mobile. This one I guess low to his desktop now.
Yeah, no problems. But can you see the problem?
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Deepak Singh, you are saying something. Can you continue?
Yes, sir. I am saying that the Amit is meet the target, which is 60 years.
Yes, Amit has met the target. Can you also see, Mr. Deepak, that the target has been set for the cousin brother, not the best target achiever has been promoted, but somewhere in the mid, a person who's achieving because his cousin brother, the marketing manager, has been promoted. So what we are trying to show here is discrimination. We are trying to experience here a problem because yes, so this is a don't you think this is a wrong decision?
Yeah,
exactly.
So favoritism.
This is not based on the performance.
Yes, it is not on performance, and there is a new word we are all privy to in the current scheme of things after Mr. Sushant Singh Rajput's case, a beautiful word by the name of nepotism. So can you relate this to nepotism somewhere? Yeah, Sanjay sir, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I'm getting. I'm just.
Sanjay sir, what are your comments?
See, it's clearly based on the nepotism. It's like the person Jitendra who has attended the sales of 70, and the promotion is getting by Amit just because of he is the first cousin of the marketing manager. So it's clearly defined that there is a discrimination to based on the relation with the marketing manager. So the immediate boss is using his like personal credential to promote Amit rather than Jitendra.
Correct. So before Sushant Singh Rajput, we never used to use this word nepotism in spoken language. Now every child also knows what is nepotism, and yes, we can see the example of nepotism here also.
Yes.
Great, wonderful, Sanjay sir. Thank you so much. I go further.
Thank you.
I come to clause number 6, disciplinary practices. What does it talk about? I'm sorry. Yes, so disciplinary action, what it says, no violence, torture, treatment.
ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ ನೋಡು ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಆಮ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಡ್ರಾಫ್ಟ್ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ
Mayank ji, just 2 minutes.
Oh.
Just 2 minutes. I want to say something to all participants.
Please, please.
देखिए, this session is conducted to make you aware about the open brief of the SA 8000 standard requirement. So you need to understand these clauses, these requirements, because it's a day-to-day activity. Okay, so please be participate in this session and make clear your concept before we going for the training part. Okay, so this is for the basic understanding to you all that what SA 8000 is required. It is not anything different which is not related to your work or your daily task. It is linked with your daily task, and you are facing these issues within your organization itself. So this standard gives you a clarity how the organization system to be furnished and how the organization need to be implement these systems. Okay, so please be participate, and please when question is raised or when any case study is raised, then please unmute yourself, else you mute yourself. Okay.
Great. Thank you so much, Sanjay ji. Thank you so much. Wonderful. So yes, as Sanjay ji says, ये जो situations है इसमें ये आपके डे टू डे लाइफ जो है, डे टू डे वर्क लाइफ जो है, डे टू डे सोशल लाइफ जो है, उसमें आप ये लोग देखते हैं, इसको आप एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं और इससे आप गुजरते हैं. So once you are, the intention of showing this is you all know about it. In the past 1 hour or so, I have not spoken anything which is new. I have not spoken anything which you people are not aware. It is only that I am just trying to reiterate so that you all are able to understand, and that is the only requirement. Well, coming back here, what clause number 6, what it says is, do not use punishment which is physically painful, mentally torturing, or verbal abuse. In case of any disciplinary action, follow fair practices. No harsh or inhuman treatment is allowed. Follow requirements of standing orders. So whatever are the requirements of the standing orders of the organization, of the environment, has to be followed. Yes, no torture, no violence should be subjected at the workplace following this standard. I come on to the next clause, which is to do with clause number 7, working hours. Again, for this, I come to the summary part of it. What it says is the working hours meet the applicable Indian law, the limits of it. Engage workers for not more than 48 hours a week, which is 6 hours a day for 6 days. Sorry, 8 hours a day for 6 days. That is 8 6 are 48. Overtime shall not exceed 12 hours per week. So when you say 12 hours per week is about 2 hours per day of overtime for 6 days. Provide 1 day off in every 7-day cycle of consecutive work, and pay premium wages for overtime work. So if the worker is doing 2 hours of overtime, he should be paid premium, which is equivalent to 4 hours of regular work. If you divide the daily into per hour earning, he should be paid a premium on the overtime. So that is what the standard says. Weekly off, yes, you have to provide 1 weekly off after every 6 days. Voluntary overtime. Overtime work, if carried out, should meet the stipulations of 7.3, which we will see. Otherwise, it should be voluntary. Every time averaging over several weeks is allowed. Do not extract forced overtime. So again, overtime has to be voluntary. It cannot be forced. It has to be work time averaging over several weeks is allowed. So you can't do overtime, every day of 4 hours, every day of 6 hours. That is just not permitted as per the standard. Even the labor laws of the country do not permit that. The ESI laws, the PF laws, they just don't permit this. But it is happening rampant, and it is much to be seen in organizations. Fourth says seasonal factors. To meet the short-term business needs, there can be overtime agreed with the union. Again, it gives you a leeway. It says you can do 12 hours a week, but in case if there are seasonal needs, take help of the union. Again, it should not cross the stipulated ones. Clause number 8, gentlemen, talks about remuneration. Allow me to come to the implementation part. So 8.1 remuneration, what it says is minimum wages. Pay minimum wages as per legal requirements. So our legal requirements are very, very clear. As per the Wage Act, as per again the Labor Commissioner circular, which comes every 6 months. It gives you very specific within municipality limit, outside municipality limit, within the rural limits, what should be the daily wages, what should be the DA, what should be the ESI, what should be the PF. And otherwise also Factory Acts also stipulates the minimum wages, and the Wage Act definitely keeps giving us the wage details. So what it says is pay minimum wages as per that. Fine, if allowed by national law company, can deduct from wages for disciplinary processes. Again, it is as per the law. Payment, pay wages in a manner convenient to the employees. Electronic transfer, cash or check. Give pay slip with details of wage calculation. So again, in our own context in India, no cash is allowed at the moment. As per the Wage Act, we are supposed to be paying electronically. It is mandatory for every employee to have a bank account, and a bank transfer is mandated. Or you can give a electronic transfer, you can give a check. Yes, that is absolutely fine. Even a pay slip is mandatory to be given to a worker as per the act in the country. Overtime, yes, it says give premium wages. No bypass. What it says is do not bypass legal requirements by means of engaging false apprentice, labor only contracts, and perennial casual workers. A lot of companies do this. I need not go into details. We all understand what negative things are done by the company to appropriate or to nullify the profit. So that again is a big no as far as the SA 8000 goes by. I come to another small little case. What it says is Jagdish shares during audit that he has been working in the company for almost 12 years. He takes a salary of rupees 12,300 after deduction. He has to support his family, his aged parents, and also a younger brother who's studying. He says that he hasn't bought a single piece of new clothes in the last 3 years as he has no money balance ever. He added that he had a loan of 2 lakhs taken during marriage of his sister and is barely able to pay the EMI. About 30% of the workers sampled cited that earnings were not adequate to meet the growing expenses and inflation. I put it back onto you. So can I request somebody who's not answered till now to please take over this and give the fair judgment?
Please everybody unmute yourself. Hello. Can you all hear me? Please unmute yourself. Those who have not participated, Vikram ji, Vikram Singh ji, Amod ji, Bhargav, Subodh ji.
Bhargav is
yeah.
Nisha Bhargav. She's part of
Bhargav
my...
is Nisha.
Yes, sir. I listen.
Okay.
Yes, Amod Singh ji, why don't you take this case?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. बताइए. Yes, sir.
थोड़ा मेरा स्क्रीन आप पढ़ पा रहे हैं क्या?
हाँ. जस्ट अभी हमारा कुछ इशू थे नेटवर्किंग का. जस्ट सॉल्व इट यार.
ना कोई बात नहीं. आप इसको पढ़ के मुझे बताइए इसको आपका क्या असेसमेंट है.
Okay. Just wait. Yes.
Sanjay Gupta ji, please unmute yourself. SK Ghosh ji, please unmute yourself if you are hearing me. Sanjay, can you see this case study? Please reply on this.
Jagdish, hello.
Anji, please tell me.
जगदीश लास्ट 12 ईयर से वर्किंग कर रहा है इस कंपनी में एंड आफ्टर डिडक्शन सैलरी डिडक्शन के बाद 12,300 सैलरी गेटिंग कर रहा है, ले रहा है, जिसमें कि वो पेरेंट्स अपने ब्रदर्स को भी कोई हेल्प नहीं कर पा रहा है पिछले 3 साल से। इवन ए सिंगल नए कपड़े भी दे नहीं पाया है
जी।
एंड ही हैड दैट ही लोन 2 lakhs देन ड्यूरिंग मैरिज ऑफ हिज सिस्टर्स। बहन के शादी के लिए उसके लिए 2 लाख का रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं, जो मैक्सिमम EMI मतलब वेयरिंग 30% अर्निंग एंड नॉट एडिक्वेट टू मीटिंग ग्रोइंग एक्सेस
जी।
एटलीस्ट 30% से ज्यादा EMI नहीं पे कर सकता है कुछ ऐसा सैलरी का।
नहीं, वो क्या बोल रहे हैं, 30% वर्कर्स
बोल रहे हैं कि जो उसका सैलरी मिलता है वो अभी का मार्केट सिचुएशन का और इन्फ्लेशन के हिसाब से सफिशिएंट नहीं है उसका डेली एक्सपेंस के लिए।
यस यस।
हाँ जी। या प्लीज हबीबुल जी एक बार असेस करिए ना इसको।
एक्चुअली सी एज पर द केस स्टडी जगदीश जो है उनको जो मिल रहा है
जी,
दैट इज वेरी मिनिमम वेजेस, but company is just maintaining the minimum wages and the company is not paying the even he has spent 12 years of work in a company, but company is not given the sufficient amount of promotion or what's say increment, so that
इंक्रीमेंट अगर आप इसका लास्ट वर्ड पढ़ें सर, ये वाला मैं अभी आपको ये अंडरलाइन कर रहा हूँ, आपका जो इंक्रीमेंट होता है ना सर, वो आपका जो इन्फ्लेशन को कैटर करता है,
इन्फ्लेशन के ऊपर बेस करके होते हैं, बट वो लोग को नहीं मिल रहा है।
सही बात है।
जो
तो आपका क्या कहना है सर?
क्या है वो लोग मतलब एम्प्लॉय का शायद जो है मतलब क्या बोलते हैं वो इंक्रीमेंट वगैरह नहीं दे रहे हैं।
सही बात है।
वन टाइप ऑफ यू कैन से फोर्स्ड लेबर, दे आर फोर्स्ड टू से वर्क बिकॉज ऑफ सम kind of you can say some foundation or
completely in agreement. You have come to the bang on target, Mr. Habibul. Excellent assessment. अमोद जी, excellent assessment आपकी तरफ से, थैंक यू सो मच। मैं आपको इसको असेस करके बताता हूँ। जगदीश नामक व्यक्ति है, 12 साल से कंपनी में काम कर रहा है। वो बोलता है कि उसका उसको सपोर्ट करना है, उसकी फैमिली, छोटा भाई है उसको पढ़ाना है, एजेड पेरेंट्स हैं। 3 साल हो गए उसने अपने लिए कपड़े नहीं खरीदे हैं। 2 लाख का उसने लोन लिया हुआ था सिस्टर की शादी का, वो बड़ी मुश्किल से पे कर पा रहा है। जब 30% वर्कर्स को उसी कंपनी में उनका एक सर्वे किया गया तो 30% वर्कर्स ने सेम प्रॉब्लम बताई। इसका ये मतलब हुआ कि कंपनी ने जो इंक्रीमेंट देना चाहिए, कीपिंग इन व्यू द इन्फ्लेशन मार्केट का जो है, जो आपको इंक्रीमेंट मिलता है हर साल में, कंपनी वो कहीं ना कहीं पैसे नहीं दे रही है। इसकी वजह से अभी जैसे हबीबुल साहब ने बताया, ये फोर्स लेबर हो गया, ये रिस्ट्रिक्टिव प्रैक्टिसेस हैं, इसमें रेम्यूनरेशन प्रैक्टिस है। आई विल जस्ट गो बैक, मैं आपको ये इसलिए बता रहा हूं, दिस इज लिंक्ड, ईच ऑफ दीज केसेस आर लिंक्ड टू द प्रॉब्लम्स। ओके, मैं आपको ये इसलिए बता रहा हूं, आप इसको अगर देखेंगे मेरी स्क्रीन पे, तो ये आपको बता रहा है कि जो रेम्यूनरेशन जितना होना चाहिए, जितना बेसिक मिनिमम वेजेस मिलने चाहिए अलोंग विथ द इंक्रीमेंट, अलोंग विद द इन्फ्लेशन इंडेक्स, वो केटर नहीं कर रही है कंपनी। इस वजह से यहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम है, और ये एक स्लेवरी के जैसा हो गया, फोर्स लेबर के जैसा हो गया, जैसा हबीबुल साहब ने बताया, और ये गलत है एंड दिस इज अ नॉन कन्फर्मेंस। अब इसमें ये रिक्वायरमेंट है कि आप जाके एज एन ऑडिटर इस कंपनी में चेक करें कि किस रेट पे आप सैलरी दे रहे हैं, लास्ट इंक्रीमेंट कब हुआ था, करंट इन्फ्लेशन इंडेक्स कंट्री में क्या चल रहा है या स्टेट का क्या चल रहा है, उस हिसाब से सैलरी मैच हो रही है कि नहीं। अब मैं अगर इसको इंडियन कॉन्टेक्स्ट में पकड़ूंगा, तो मैं कैसे इसको करूंगा, मैं ये चेक करूंगा कि कंपनी में लेबर लॉज एप्लीकेबल है कि नहीं है।
Okay.
उस लोकल एरिया के एएलसी असिस्टेंट लेबर कमिश्नर या लेबर कमिश्नर ऑफिस से उनका मैं एक लास्ट जो उनका परिपत्र होगा या पत्रक होगा वो मैं उनसे लूंगा, मंगाऊंगा या नेट से डाउनलोड करूंगा। उसमें चेक करूंगा कि बेसिक मिनिमम वेज कितनी होनी चाहिए एज पर इस पर्टिकुलर वर्कर के उसके क्वालिफिकेशन और उसके हिसाब से उसको कितनी मिल रही है, क्या उसको पूरी मिल रही है, उसमें डीए जुड़ा हुआ है, नहीं जुड़ा हुआ है तो वो क्यों नहीं जुड़ा हुआ है। और हर 6 महीने में वो जो रेट है वो वैरी करता है, कभी इंक्रीज होता है, डिक्रीज होता है, जो भी होता है वो हुआ है कि नहीं। एंड दैट इज हाउ आई विल बी असेसिंग दिस थिंग। राइट हबीबुल जी, एमओजी, आर यू गुड?
Right. You are very right.
Right, sir. Yeah.
ग्रेट। मैं आगे बढ़ता हूँ।
Okay.
मैं अब आ गया हूँ क्लॉज नंबर 9 की समरी शीट पे। क्लॉज नंबर 9 जो है जेंटलमैन, दैट इज टॉकिंग अबाउट मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम एज अ होल। मैंने आपको जब स्टार्ट किया था तो मैंने बताया था मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम इज द कंप्लीट सेट ऑफ मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम ऑफ अ कंपनी, राइट फ्रॉम राइट टू लेफ्ट, इंक्लूसिव ऑफ परचेज, इंक्लूसिव ऑफ एचआर, मार्केटिंग, सेल्स, प्रोडक्शन, डिस्पैच, उसमें सब आ जाता है। व्हाट इट सेज इज, इंप्लीमेंटेशन की हम जब बात करें, व्हाट इट सेज इज सोशल अकाउंटेबिलिटी पॉलिसी बनाना जरूरी है। व्हाट इट सेज, define, document and communicate to all social accountability policy of the company. There has to be a social accountability representative nominated from the management of the company. एक इंसान का नॉमिनेशन आउट ऑफ द एग्जिस्टिंग में एक का जरूरी है। यूजुअली मैंने देखा है सोशल अकाउंटेबिलिटी रिप्रेजेंटेटिव या तो एडमिन हेड, एचआर हेड, सेफ्टी हेड, किसी एक को बनाया जाता है डिपेंडिंग ऑन द साइज ऑफ द कंपनी। Allow non-management personnel to elect a non-management SA representative also. So एक आपका जो वर्कर्स हैं, वर्कर में से भी एक सोशल अकाउंटेबिलिटी रिप्रेजेंटेटिव को चुनना जरूरी है। मैनेजमेंट रिव्यू रेगुलरली सोशल अकाउंटेबिलिटी सिस्टम परफॉर्मेंस एट द टॉप मैनेजमेंट लेवल एंड टेक नेसेसरी एक्शन फॉर अपडेटिंग। सो यूजुअली मैनेजमेंट रिव्यू once in 6 months या once in a year किया जाता है डिपेंडिंग ऑन कंपनी टू कंपनी। इंटरनल ऑडिट्स करिए, इंटरनल ऑडिट्स के साथ साथ अगर कुछ लैप्सेस पाए जाते हैं तो उसको करेक्शन करना है। फिफ्थ पॉइंट बोलता है रोल, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, ट्रेनिंग एंड मॉनिटरिंग। व्हाट इट सेज इज डिफाइन ऑल रोल्स एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज रिलेटिंग टू इम्प्लीमेंटेशन, ट्रेन इनिशियली एंड पीरियोडिकली रीट्रेन ऑल एम्प्लॉयज ऑफ दिस स्टैंडर्ड। व्हेन इट सेज ट्रेन इनिशियली मतलब एक बार तो आप इनिशियल ट्रेनिंग दीजिए, उसके बाद में पीरियोडिक रीट्रेन करिए एम्प्लॉयज को इस स्टैंडर्ड में। कंटिन्यूअसली मॉनिटर इम्प्लीमेंटेशन टू डेमोन्स्ट्रेट its effective implementation. Point number 6 of 9 says refer SA guidance document. एक guidance document भी SAI इंटरनेशनल ने रिलीज किया हुआ है फॉर इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ द स्टैंडर्ड, जिसके बेसिस पे मैंने जो ये टैबुलेशन बनाया मैं उसी के बेसिस पे आपको ये समझा भी रहा हूं। Point number 7 says supplier selection procedure should include weightage for their implementation of the SA system requirements, maintain necessary records on suppliers and subcontractors। इसमें सिर्फ आप ही की कंपनी नहीं है, आपके जो सप्लायर जो सब कॉन्ट्रैक्टर हैं उनको भी शामिल करना है उसमें। नंबर 8 says सप्लायर कंप्लायंस रिकॉर्ड्स, जो आपके सप्लायर सब कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स हैं वो कैसे कंप्लाई कर रहे हैं उसके भी रिकॉर्ड्स आपके पास में आपने मेंटेन करने हैं या उनसे मंगा के रखने हैं। नंबर 9 से सप्लायर कंट्रोल, एंश्योर बाय मेकिंग रीजनेबल एफर्ट्स दैट रिक्वायरमेंट्स ऑफ द स्टैंडर्ड आर मेट बाय सप्लायर्स एंड सब कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स। यू हैव टू एंश्योर दैट वो लोग भी इसका पालन करें। एक बार में शायद पॉसिबल नहीं है, 6 महीने, 1 साल, 2 साल के अंतराल में ये भी पॉसिबल है। नंबर 10 इज होम वर्कर्स। सो होम वर्कर इफ एनी शुड बी प्रोटेक्टेड जस्ट लाइक डायरेक्ट वर्कर्स रिगार्डिंग वेलफेयर। आप जितना वेलफेयर आपके ऑन कैंपस एम्प्लॉयज का करते हैं वैसे ही अगर कोई वर्क फ्रॉम होम है या ऑन होम वर्कर है उसका भी वेलफेयर या उसका भी जो वेलफेयर उसी लेवल पे होना चाहिए जितना डायरेक्ट वर्कर जो ऑन कैंपस का होता है। पॉइंट नंबर 11 says have a system for addressing and resolving grievances, हर एक इंसान के corrective action। पॉइंट नंबर 12 what it says have system for taking immediate action to resolve issues। so again very crucial, very critical। point number 13 it says outside communication, establish and maintain procedures to communicate the results of SA 8000 implementation to all necessary interested parties, your suppliers, contractors, customers, government, neighbor, NGO, in general, हर एक इंसान को. नंबर 14 बोलता है स्टेक होल्डर एंगेजमेंट, डेमोन्स्ट्रेट विलिंगनेस टू इंटरेक्ट विद ऑल इंटरेस्टेड स्टेक होल्डर्स. 15 नंबर, व्हाट इट सेज, एक्सेस फॉर वेरिफिकेशन, प्रोवाइड एक्सेस टू इंटरेस्टेड पार्टीज टू वेरीफाई रिकॉर्ड्स ऑफ SA 8000 इंप्लीमेंटेशन इन द कंपनी. अगर आपका कोई सप्लायर, अगर आपका कोई कस्टमर चाहता है, उनको दीजिए, दिखाइए कि भाई वी आर सर्टिफाइड एंड दिस इज व्हाट वी आर मेंटेनिंग. Number 16 is maintain appropriate records to prove compliance to the system in an objective manner. So this complete set of things comes under management system in detail, which is eventually covering anything and everything to do with the social factor. Gentlemen, on your screen now, if you see, it is showing you a list of mandatory documents. So these are mandatory documents. If you go ahead in your organization to implement SA 8000 2014 version, you need to create a manual, you need to create standing orders, you need to create health and safety manual. In case you already have an health and safety manual part of ISO 45000, then you don't have to duplicate this you have to create. Risk assessment manual, in case if you already have part of any other standard that goes well with this. Operation control procedure, in case if you already have a production procedure, in case if you already have a procedure part of any other system standard, again it goes well, but it is a mandatory in here. Emergency preparedness plan, same as I said for other above. And basic need wages calculation, आप लोग कैसे wage calculate कर रहे हैं आपकी कंपनी में, this again is available as part of an Excel sheet with HR or any outsourced company which is helping us out in our pay management. So these are mandatory documents if we are implementing SA 8000. Certain list of mandatory records also which are required. Those were documents, these are records. So list of employees, list of documents, minutes of meeting, any for that matter, any kind of meeting which is happening part of SA 8000, training attendance, training feedback, suggestion forms, grievance register, approved vendor subcontractor list, vendor subcontractor register form, annual audit plan, list of qualified auditors, vendor evaluation report, your company objectives and their reporting in the periodicity as it is, external communication form, accident incident report, mock drill register, supplier questionnaire, wage slip, wage calculation sheet, attendance sheet, and MRM minutes. So these are, and again, if you see, if any of you are MR of your company or management representative of your company for a system standard, let's say ISO 9001, 45001, 14001, most of it would already be available with you. A few things extra other than those standards, yes, to do with remuneration, probably to do with health safety, could be added upon, and it becomes a very simplistic standard to add or to implement within your organization. So I come to the end of my presentation. I am also trying to ask you, have I met your quick expectations in this small time given to me by Sonali madam? And definitely your feedback will help me out in further improvement of my processes. It will further help me out in improvement of my own understanding so that I deliver better. So I'm done, ladies and gentlemen. Should you have any doubts, any questions, you're free to ask. Should you have anything more, any suggestions, I would be very, very open in taking them. Sonali madam, back to you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for attending the session. I think Mayank said it would be helpful if you could just give a brief insight about the lead auditor course which we are coming up with. So
Sure,
everyone
I'll
gets
do
an
that.
idea about that.
I'll do that. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, part of the planning and part of the structure, we are going ahead with Mr. Sanjay Yadav and Mr. Sonali Satpathy. Part of the next delivery is a lead auditor course. It is a 5-day course, which would tend to get developed into 2 modules. One module of 3 days, which will give you exposure onto the social audits. How to do a social audit. How to become an auditor for social audit, the next 2-day module. So I said 3 days and 2 days, so 5 days. Next 2 days module would be talking about in detail about all these clauses. It will also be talking about doing more detailed exercises, doing assessments, doing risk assessment with your own hands, with your own on your own screens, which would be a group activity for better learning. And the 5th day would be a detailed 2-hour exam, which is mandated or is mandatory to pass as far as TUV Rhineland thing goes for getting a certification. And yes, there is a I should also mention there is a minimum pass marks for 70 which you have to clear to become a lead auditor. And TUV Rhineland will be certifying that course for which will allow you to start doing audits within your organization, outside your organization, and yes, it would enhance your knowledge onto this particular standard. I was in a rush while I was talking today, but then yes, during lead auditor's course, I would be slow and I would also be going much in detail. So that is how it is, Sonali madam. Again, any queries on that, I would be keen to answer. I'll try and answer.
Thank you, Mayank ji. Thank you for participation, all the participant. If you have any query about the today's session, or if you want to clear some more doubts about SA 8000, so you all are feel free to just ask any question or query to Mayank ji. Any doubt? Amod ji, Habibul, Deepak ji, Subodh ji?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Sanjay Gupta.
Excuse me, sir. In this regard, can this presentation be shared to our mail ID so that we can go through in the detail as we present a little bit. This presentation is very good and the knowledge sharing is very, very fine. Only the thing is in detail with what the presentation was, content of the presentation, we are not able to study in detail.
No problem. I will be doing that. Yes,
right.
Please. Sorry.
No, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So, Mr. Shrikant, what I will be doing it in case if you are attending the lead auditors course also, the same presentation would be much in detail. Notwithstanding that, I will be sharing this with Sonali madam. She will be sharing it with you. That's not a problem.
Okay. And also regarding this
great presentation and for awarding us such kind of knowledge, I'd like to ask one question, which is clicking back of my mind. I don't know whether it is right or not.
No, please ask.
In our India, our government is maintaining 18. Below 18 years of working is a child labor.
Yes.
Right? But our government, Indian government, is not providing such kind of facility to the child up to 18 years of age. See, in India, we are all aware that means at least 20 to 25% people child is not getting the right facility for education.
You are right, sir.
Maybe some kind of lack of money, lack of facility. You can understand what I'm trying to ask.
Completely.
So what they will do, they will try to work and to do for their livelihood, right?
You are right.
Is it okay or not okay as per your as per the law and as per the what?
See, yeah, Mr. Habibul, very pertinent question.
Human kind of view.
No, completely.
Open question.
No. I will just like to answer, and I would also I would request others to take part as well. See, Mr. Habibul, the thing is, we live in a country of 1.3 billion and more, which is ticking like a time bomb every day. How many of us have the accessibility for a good job? How many of us are able to satisfy our own stomachs at the end of the day? Me and people on the call we are all privileged ones that we were probably born in good families and we got a good platform to take off and we could manage some decent education. Correct. But then still you know, I would say,
my question is also linked to your last case study. You
correct.
can see that you're similar to your last case study. If he,
Sir, that case study is so pertinent, and a sizable population, when I say sizable population, close to 30-40% population of the country is reeling under those case study related problems, sir, wherein they are unable to cater. And what happens is, to cater to your basic livelihood, you
right,
start fudging your documents. At a ripe age of 16, you start giving a false birth certificate, and you start entering a company as a labor or as whatever. And it is much seen in, especially not in towns, but it is very, very rampant in industries which are remote, in remote areas. We have a bag full of youngsters who go there in search of work, because they know no inspector is going to come. Even if inspector comes, the company guys know how to manage that inspector who comes from the government, from the labor, or somebody who comes. They know how to manage them, and they are just sent off from, not even, they don't even visit the site. So yes, your question is very pertinent. Probably we have a huge problem, which is population. And
right.
education, you are right, we are unable to provide, although government has come out with RT and all kinds of things. But how many of us can actually go and get educated and see our own parents and, people back at home hungry? So they go and do any kind of a work, or if they don't do work, they resort to all kinds of negative things in the society then.
Right.
So it is better that that person works rather than becoming a wrong head in the society.
Yes. So somehow it is difficult for some kind of means from human kind of view. If some child come to you, so what we can do? We'll try to help, right?
I agree with you. It is a difficult proposition, but yes,
Yes.
you can help him out with something else, wherein he's not entering the premises, he's not entering the factory, he's somewhere
Right.
else.
But I don't know.
Excuse me.
This is a real situation in India.
It is a bad situation, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, basically,
Even how long it will take to remove all the things, I don't know.
see,
In fact, I am a very small fry to answer that question. Yes, Sanjay ji.
Abhibul, basically, see what government has done to this for this child labor, like they have considered the age of below 14 years. Our Indian government had considered child at the age of below 14 years. Okay, after 14 years, like 15 to 18 years, he can work with the organization, any
In
factory.
certain condition.
Yes,
After,
in fulfilling the certain condition which organization has to fulfill.
right.
Okay. So what organization has to do, that organization take a required permission from the local government to ask government that this like 15 to 18 age person is I want to allow to work in my premises for part-time jobs or
Right.
light work. So that provision government had made. Why this provision has made? Because in India there is we have one line that is called poverty line. Okay, in each area, each village, each
That I like to know.
yes. So we have one line that is poverty line. So government want to upgrade, like uplift this poverty line to the developed people, like a people who are lower middle class, who are earning by their like with some skills, some unskills, like kind of things. So government want to develop this poor locality to the developed locality. Okay, so for that government had made this kind of provisions. So it is not illegal that that 15 to 18 year age of person is working with the organization. It is illegal. No, it is legal, but you have to take certain registrations, take certain permission from the local government to allow this. Okay, but if we practice 18 years above person employing in our organization, it is good for our country also, because the 15 to 18 year of age is the development age of a person. Okay, if he get required education, if he get required knowledge, then he can become a good citizen of our country. So for that, government has made the law that nobody can practice illegally. Okay, so we can hire, but we have to also think that what in future what we are giving to our country as an organization, we have to think that. what locality we are creating. If we create culture like this, then again the India is not going to be uplift from developing to develop. Okay, so we have to think on that perspective also, and that's the reason this SA 8000 standard. That's the reason this SA 8000 standard is implemented by international organizations. Why? That the country who are developed, they are practicing this law that no below 18 year of age person employed in any organization. Okay, why? To develop the nation, to develop the locality, to develop the person. Okay, for that.
Society.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I think Shrikantji was saying something.
Yeah, regarding this course, this one, SA 8000, you are telling this the course will be starting for only 5 days continuous, right?
Right.
Continuous. Yeah. Is there any opposite possibility to extend this this one discrimination after 6 also for 2-3 hours like this, 7 to 9 or these things for continuous 1 week like this? Is that possible instead of continuing from morning to evening? So working professionals may help for this.
Okay, so Mr. Shrikant,
Yeah.
there are different ways, IRCA or oblique TUV Rhineland head office has started structuring, looking into this pandemic times. One is
Yeah.
definitely 5 days, as I just mentioned a while back. Second thing they have started doing is on weekends, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
So Saturday,
Understand.
Sunday, 2 days, again
Okay.
Saturday, Sunday, again, and one, since it is 5 days, so
Yeah,
one half day you take again, so then you complete the 5 days thing. That is another way of doing it. But what happens is this evening, what you mentioned, evening, for example, I am billed, right?
Yes.
My Monday is billed. So I would be
Right.
billed by TUV Rhineland for 8 hours. Now, if I am, being billed for beyond that, then I am again being billed for 2 man days in 1 day.
Right.
So, it
Okay, got
becomes
it.
slightly,
Yeah.
slight bit of a problem for the organization.
Just
No,
what is
I
that?
am, my intention is just to, tell you whatever is exact and whatever, you should be aware about it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yes, weekends is possible. Let me discuss with Mr. Sanjay and Mr. Sonali madam, कि कैसे हो सकता है ये. If that is convenient to you all who are going to be participating, then probably we can take this Saturday, Sunday wala. Else, let me just see, Sanjay ji, why don't you just take a feedback from everybody and let us do a customization, because it is intention at the end of the day is to cater for the requirement of the participants. Yeah, so they should be contented, and they should be at the end of the day, they should be, what do you say, it should be to their liking. So I don't mind. I'm pretty much flexible.
Yes. We are
No,
working on.
actually, he is he is saying, Srikant is saying right. Actually, for us, we are for our factory work, day-to-day activity, we are involving in such a way. If we take 1 hour or 2 hours, so some activity will stop.
No, I completely agree, and I know also it is very difficult. I also agree that 5 दिन छुट्टी लेना, it is not possible. It is just not possible. So and मैं अभी पहली बार ये श्रीकांत जी से बात कर रहा हूँ. I have not even spoken this with Mr. Sanjay and Sonali madam. Let me just discuss it internally, and let us structure something the best possible way for you all, so that it is a win-win situation for us and for you.
Right.
I am pretty much open to Saturday, Sunday. हबीबुल जी, एक और भी आपको चीज बताऊं, 8 घंटे अगर आप काम करने के बाद में ये सोचेंगे कि 4 घंटे ये ऐसे 8000 पढ़ेंगे शाम को, तो मतलब again it is expecting too much from your own self. So
yes, that I can understand.
Possible नहीं है sir.
हाँ, वो possible नहीं है, मुझे पता है.
This is something additional for us.
If we can
For this
discuss that.
additional part, our regular activity.
I think
that is our purpose.
I think Saturday Sunday will be fine.
हाँ, so अभी इन्होंने क्या शुरू किया है, TUV headquarter ने, they have started this weekend wala thing. So I have seen, I have also delivered 2 lead auditor courses on 9,000 and 45,000. I have recently delivered on weekend, Saturday, Sunday. and I have seen a very healthy participation from a lot of people. So उन्होंने क्या किया, काफी लोगों ने तो सैटरडे क्या होता है, हाफ डे होता है, कईयों का वो सैटरडे वो सेकंड फोर्थ थर्ड फोर्थ ऐसा कुछ मिला के छुट्टी होता है. So a lot of people participated in a beautiful way. So I think
ಫೈರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ವಿಷರ್ ನೆಲದ ಮೇಲೆ ಬಿದ್ದಿದೆ, ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಸೈಡ್ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಬಿಡು. ಅಲ್ಲೇನೆ ಸೈಡ್ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಿಡು. ಸೆಪರೇಟರ್ ಇರಲಿ, ಈ ಕಡೆ ಸೈಡ್
श्रीकांत जी, हमको आपकी भाषा समझ में नहीं आती है.
श्रीकांत जी प्लीज अनम्यूट.
श्रीकांत जी आपकी भाषा हमको
बात करें तो ऑडियो म्यूट कर दीजिए श्रीकांत जी.
सॉरी.
नहीं आप हमको समझाइए क्या बोला आपने. हमारे कोर्स के बारे में तो बात नहीं किया ना आपने. No problem. Okay. So what I will do is I will discuss with Mr. Sanjay and Sonali madam, and probably today tomorrow, and they will get back to you. And the momentum would be same, the energy would be same, the examples would be same, and everything would be replicated. And yes, Sanjay ji and Sonali madam are amazing people. They are energy, and they give me a lot of energy. So we will try and
so much, sir.
We will try and follow up in the similar way.
Sure.
Right?
Okay.
So who all from the current group are going to be part of the lead auditor course, Sonali madam?
I think right now we have not received registration from Shrikant ji and Sanjay Gupta, I guess.
Sanjay
Gupta we have received.
Okay.
Only Shrikant ji is left.
Shrikant ji is left actually.
Usually like Subodha ji and 2-3 more person who have
even
joined.
Subodh Sarangi was left.
So they are the participant.
Right.
So like they are going to register.
Miss Selvi was supposed to participate. So these people are left now.
Mrinal is also there. And
Mrinal, right.
Yes. And
No problem. So
Krishna is there.
we will carry on.
One
And
more participant is there.
Okay, no problem. So let us just decide it internally, and we will just get back to you all. And we will. The intention is to give you the best. So don't worry about it. And about this presentation, you want only this presentation? Fine. You want my laptop? You can take that also. There are enough presentations. I can give you everything possible.
Maybe we want Shrikant ji to join the session actually.
He will do.
Of course.
Sure.
Whether we don't want your laptop, we want the soft copy of the presentation only.
It will be there with you. It'll reach you. I will be sharing it with Sonali madam.
It is very difficult to handle one laptop.
Don't worry. It will come to you, and I only believe in one knowledge. Share is knowledge increasing. If I share my knowledge, probably I will get more knowledge from you all. So it will be there with you.
Yes.
Right.
Great. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think we wind up for the day. And thanks for listening to me. It is not very easy to keep sitting and listening. You all are amazing people. You all have enough patience. And I promise to give you the best, whatever little knowledge I have of training and auditing. I will combine because I audit also. So I will be combining that knowledge as well.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
madam. Sonali madam, thank you.
Thank you so much, Deepak ji, Sanjay ji. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Abhibul ji. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Sonali madam and Sanjay ji for this training.
Sure.
Thank you, Shrikant ji.
Thank you
so
for
much.
all your.
Thank you everyone for attending the session.
Please, Sonali, please.
If you have any doubts, you can please get in touch with us even after the session if you want to, or if you want to ask something, you want to know something, please get in touch with us.
Sure.
I should also thank my colleague Nisha madam for organizing everything. She's also on the call. Nisha madam, a very, as always, thank you so much for being there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Nisha ji.
Great. So see you all soon. We will let you know how it is being done by Mr. Sanjay and Sonali madam, and we will get back to you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
You all can leave at no
You
issue.
can leave the session actually.
Yeah. Thank you.